welcome to Eco Girl in a Modern World. My name is Shelley, and my channel is dedicated to talking about topics on how to be more environmentally friendly in a modern world. So this week I wanted to talk about a new topic. This has been kind of on the agenda for a while. Last time I talked to you, I was feeling really under the weather, and so today, I'm sorry, today you get concealer, Shelley. You don't get good hair, Shelley, and I apologize. It's been raining, and you'll see in a minute, today was like the first day that I could actually get out and walk out in nature. So I'm looking a little ragged, but very happy and healthy. So today I wanted to talk about kind of a subject that is on the radar this time of year. I wanted to talk about eco first aid. So if you're, just to preface it, this episode is going to be talking about just basic first aid, just for general things. Of course, if you have a serious injury, if you are gushing blood, or you have a more a symptom that really requires more medical grade attention, then of course, this is just a guidance channel. Not, I am not a doctor, so always listen to your doctor first. If it is the type of situation that requires more medical attention, I'm not trying to take us back to the Stone Age. It's just, these are just little ways that you don't have to, that we can have less pollutants in the way that we just do, bandage up our boo-boos. So I wanted to go ahead and get started. What started this concept, what prompted me to want to do this video is last week, or about on March 13th, I had plans to go out to dinner, and I was visiting a city that had cobblestone streets, like those brick lined, which are very uneven. When you see trees and things like that, it's uneven terrain, and I really knew better. I knew better going into it, that I should have worn more practical shoes. But of course, you've seen my Instagram, and you've seen my Facebook pages. I like to be more trendy, and I had a pair of shoes that looked really cute. And here, I'll go ahead and show you. The shoes went with the outfit, but the problem is they're heels, and I've worn them for a long time, which I like to do. I like to wear it out. But look at my heels. You see how the heels are kind of worn on one side? Like, they're worn down at the edges. I'm heavy heeled, and that's actually one of the reasons why you don't really want to buy used shoes unless you really look at it, because everybody wears their shoes out uneven, in their own foot patterns. But these shoes I've had for a long time, and I like to use them up, wear it out. But it was really foolish of me to wear them at a place with uneven pavement. And I did well. I fared pretty well the entire night, but as predicted, I took a tumble and I twisted my ankle. I rolled my ankle really bad. Now, I was lucky because I could tell, if I had sprained it, I would be limping pretty bad. I would be feeling shots of pain. And if I had broken it, I wouldn't have been walking at all. But I was able to walk back to my car. But of course, when I got home, I had a pretty big golf ball swelling going on. So it did scare me. And after a couple of days, I turned black and blue. And, I was just like, oh gosh, did I do any damage to my foot? So, of course, you can, Google it. You always want to talk to a doctor if you think that you've done a serious injury. And after a few days, I elevated my foot. I applied ice the first day. So with the swelling, I applied ice. And then I went to urgent care, and they did a X-ray of my foot. So luckily, my foot is okay. I did pull a tendon pretty bad, but I was very proud. My doctor said, your bones are good. You got great, strong bones. You didn't tear anything, but I have been doing exercises to strengthen my muscles because I rolled it pretty bad. Now, aside from being foolish and deciding whether or not I'm going to either have my shoes fixed where they're not worn out anymore, or just be conscious to wear them better on flat surfaces, I wanted to go ahead and talk about some of the ways that, given that I had to apply ice and then later apply heat, I wanted to talk about some of the ways that first aid can be eco-friendly. So, again, when you're treating yourself and, because there is a lot of plastics, or as wondrous, and believe me, I'm so grateful that I have an urgent care center and that we have hospitals. I'm grateful for that. I'm not trying to, with environmentalism, it doesn't mean go back to the dark age with the way that you do things. But it does mean that, there is a lot of waste that comes from, disposable, especially when you get into medical. So I wanted to talk about a few of that. Now, first off, starting off with my foot injury, glad, my hairy big toe. Sorry, I had to show you guys that. I'm not a foot model. Again, environmentalist, not a foot model. But the first night, anytime the swelling is bad, if you need to get down swelling, and this happens a lot. This actually happens with my jaw too. Sometimes I get tension in my jaw, and it's just a thing that comes about. Sometimes you have to apply ice and then apply heat. So the best way, the most environmentally friendly way that I've seen with that, because what it is the non-environmentally friendly way to apply ice is those liquid gel packs that are all in plastic. And to be honest, I don't know what gel's inside of it, but it does not look biodegradable. And we kind of use it once and then throw it away. That's not a real good way to go. So the environmentally friendly way to go, anytime you need to apply cold compresses, is I love to use stasher bags. Stasher bags are silicone bags, and by the company Stasher. And the beautiful thing about this is that you can fill these with whatever you want. I actually, just on a side note, I had my phone got exposed to some water, and I was getting that scary, water contamination. I filled one of these bags up with rice, put my phone in for 24 hours, and it survived. So this is also a good way to go for that. I also use this instead of using those. You can also do that when you're taking a cooler somewhere. What you do is you fill this up with ice. And the beautiful thing is that you just apply it to your boo-boo, and if it's too cold, you can wrap it in a towel. And again, I reuse towels. That's a great repurpose for old towels, or my towels are 100% cotton, so I use it. But apply the ice, and then, so the great thing is I also use these as ice packs for when I need to keep dairy, keep things cold when I go to the grocery store, or there's a dairy that I go to in the northern part of my state that's an hour away. When I go to get milk and cheese, I fill a bunch of these. I have designated little ones. I separate them out, where I have ones that I use for first aid, and then I use others for food, because you can store food in this. It's a reusable bag. But the nice thing is, for first aid, you fill this up with ice, and it's an ice pack. When the ice melts, you drain it out and just throw it in the dishwasher. It's dishwasher safe. You can actually, these are silicone, so you can boil them. You can boil eggs in these. These are very versatile. And of course, I keep it separate. The ones that I use for, my phone, or the ones that I use for first aid, I use only those bags for first aid, even though, you could interchange it. I like to keep it separate. And then the other ones I use for food. Now, and the greatest thing about Stasher, and you could really go with any silicone company, but Stasher is wonderful because they do have a commitment to end of life, like keeping it in a circle. Once you are done, you can mail these back to them, and it will be recycled and turned into new product. So this is fantastic. If you need to apply ice, don't use those gel packs. Those are so wasteful and they don't biodegrade. Use these, and they're multifunctional. You can use them for different purposes, and they're reusable. Great, quick solution. Now, after a couple of days, one other thing that you need to do is apply heat. So after a few days, once the swelling went down, I had to apply heat. Now, the way that you apply heat environmentally is you see a lot of those heater pack, or those Thermacare, and I have used those in the past. But when you look at it, it's these little stone heated blocks, which are chemical in nature, and then it is just plastic covering, and then you throw them away. And of course, our goal is to not throw away anything. We want to use things over and over and over again. So with heat, I actually found a great solution. For Christmas, my mom found a place called Lavender Life. And the Lavender Life company actually has heat packs, and this is all linen. So this is a great bag here. But she sent me the 2-in-1 set. She sent me the small eye bag set. So this can be used just to on eyes, but sometimes I just use it if I just, don't want to use the big one. I use the small one for heat, and this would be great for my ankle. And what you do, and there's actually a longer one too, this is all linen material. It's all linen material, so the outside is completely, a natural fiber, and inside of it is lavender and I think either beans or wheat. And I'll post the link. I'll show you on the screen, but it's great. And you can the bags you can control. You can move them. Move the grains from one cell to another. And the great thing is you throw either one of these in the microwave. The smaller one would probably be like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. And then this one is more like 4.5, 5 minutes. And then once it's all done, you just wrap it up. And believe it or not, I've had physical therapy for the muscles in my jaw before, and they use stuff just like this when they're, releasing your muscles. So, and again, if it gets too hot, just wrap it in a towel, and then as it cools down. And this has given me a good 45 minutes to an hour worth of heat. And the great thing is you can use this up to 40 to 45 times. And then it's a natural fiber, and inside of it, all of it is it's rice or wheat and lavender. Now, my sister doesn't like the smell of it so much. I love the smell of lavender. It does smell a little bit, I don't think it smells too bad. It smells like wheat and lavender, but if you're sensitive to smell, that might be a consideration, but I think it works wonderfully. And it's a reusable and more eco-friendly choice. The other thing is, if you really like that lavender smell, and lavender's relaxing, we all need a little bit more calm and zen in our life. You could even sprinkle this with some lavender oil if you choose. But this is wonderful. It stores really well. I just put it back in the storage bag, put it back into the linen closet, and pull it out when I need it. And actually, I'm going to be using it again today because I have to put heat on my foot because I've been doing exercises to strengthen my muscles. So that one's a great one. It's a little bit more expensive, but price per use is fantastic. So, I think that's a good way to be more eco-friendly. Now, to get into just a few other things. So that was in regards to my injury, but there's a few other things that we can talk about with, daily health care. One big one is, we're just a couple years out of a major health kind of pandemic. So we still, the best way to help keep yourself healthy is, of course, to bolster your immune system. Just don't do anything that would, you need to heal, right? So the number one that you see a lot is hand sanitizer. Now, I talked about this in the hygiene video, which is a little bit rough, but hand sanitizers today come in those little plastic containers, and they're full of chemicals. There were so many of those hand sanitizers called out and recalled because of the harsh chemicals that are in it. And I mean, a few of them had chemicals that were the same as what's in nail polish remover and paint thinner. And you're putting that on your skin. It's absorbing into your skin. I feel like that's terrible. And then you can't recycle the little bottles either. So one thing that I like to do is, even as an environmentalist, I still have to use, we're not going back to the dark ages, but I still use rubbing alcohol. I use rubbing alcohol and hydrogen peroxide. I have small bottles of that because you need that. But what you can do is, instead of using these hand sanitizers that, are full of chemicals, you can get one of these pen. I use this. This is a little pen sprayer. So it's a little spray bottle, and it has a little clip on it, so it's easy to carry around. But you just open it up, and it is plastic, but it's reusable. So I'm not throwing away a million of those little I'm reusing this one. And then what I do is I fill it about 1/3 of the way with the rubbing alcohol, and then I fill it up with water, So you have that solution that's antibacterial, and then you can also add, you can add other oils to it to make it less harsh. Like I do sometimes put a little tea tree oil in it. And the great thing is the tea tree oil is it's antiviral, antimicrobial, and it is moisturizing. It's an oil. So it does help offset some of the drying of the alcohol. But it sanitizes my hands really, really well. And then when I get low, I just refill it. Now, a few other options that you have for that too is in the vein of silicone, because it's a reusable thing. You can also get these little silicone containers. And it does have a plastic top, but the great thing is I use this for my aloe, for the aloe that I use on my face and body, and you just squeeze it out. So you can, you can put aloe mixed with alcohol and drops of any oil you want. You can use tea tree oil. I actually have a little hemp oil, which is very antimicrobial, and I'm rubbing it in my hands right now. You can even rub it into your hair. My aloe in my hair does really, really well. Like light moisture just makes my curls happy. So, but that's one way that you can also do it, to have a hand sanitizer. And again, I'm not sure if Stasher creates these, but if they do, that would be a good option, because you can reuse and reuse and reuse it. And then at its end of life, you can send it back to the maker to become something else. And it closes the circle without a lot of, waste. Now, one other thing to bolster your immune system is, of course, taking good vitamins. But I do also have this soothing throat spray that has echinacea in it. And what I do is I kind of spray the back of my throat. And especially this time of year, to bridge into spring and kind of allergy season, you get a lot of discharge that comes from up in here. And sometimes this helps. It kind of, I feel the disinfectant in the back of my throat really well. It's almost better than, you can go with throat lodges, like Ricola. I'm sorry, Ricola. I'm saying that completely wrong. But the throat lozenges, if I'm saying that right, the little, it's like a candy, except it's herbal that you can suck on for your throat. But if you are feeling sore in your throat, either from a cold or from, nasal congestion, you can use throat spray. And then this is really nice because this is a glass bottle, and instead of throwing this away or recycling it, which is easy to recycle, glass is very easy. The pump is the hard part. That usually gets thrown away. But if you clean this out real good, instead of using this, you can use this as your, I just kind of like this better because it's easy to throw into a purse, and I don't have to worry about breaking anything. But that one's a good one, just
either that or, throat lozenges to help with a sore throat. Now, in the vein of allergies, one other thing that you want to do to keep your immune system good is to clear out your sinuses, because these get really gunked up. You get really congested right here. Now, the eco-friendly way to do it, and unfortunately I haven't switched over to this yet. I need to learn how to do it right. But there is such a thing as a Neti-Pot. And a Neti-Pot is a way to irrigate your sinuses, because what happens is your sinuses go up to here, and then it's open where if you pour water through one nose, it can pour out the other side. And what people do is that you can reuse the pot. And I know that sounds crazy, but just like anything environmentally friendly, you can use one device to clear your nasal passages. And but what you have to do is, I believe you have to use ionized water. Like, you have to use a specific type of water. You don't want to just use tap water. Tap water is full of a lot of additives. Like, believe it or not, the fluoride that we use to brush our teeth, the fluoride in toothpaste doesn't leave water supplies. Believe me, I had my dental hygienist told me this. You could just rinse with tap water, and you're getting fluoride the way that you would if you brushed your teeth.
So you don't really want to put that through your nasal passages. So you do, I'll post a few videos below. There's a few great videos, but you also have to heat up the water to, make sure everything's really clean. Because of course, if you're reusing something, you do not want to run the risk of having any contaminants in that, especially when the goal is to clear out your sinuses, not to make them worse because you're flushing them with something that's not a whole 100% clean and water that. And the other thing is you don't want the water to be too hot. Don't want to scald yourself there. Now, that's the eco-friendly way. Unfortunately, the non-eco-friendly way, which the way I do currently, is saline solution. And this is a tin bottle, but it's got a plastic top, and I don't think it's very recyclable. Well, it says metal here. I think I might need to take this, I don't want to wish cycle this, but this is actually extra strength, and it's basically salt water. Salt water is fantastic, and believe it or not, it's a little bit of an acquired feeling. If you've ever been to the pool and got chlorine water up your nose, like if you got water up your nose and you just feel that tingling, like, oh my God, I'm smelling chlorine, that's what it kind of feels like, especially the extra strength one. But I just, 2 shots in either nostrils and just kind of let it flood back out, and it keeps me really clean, and I feel like my allergies aren't as bad if you do it in the morning and at night. And then I am going to ask about how recyclable those bottles are, because if I have to switch to the Neti-Pot, I can. And the Neti-Pot, you can add salt water. Now, speaking of salt water, good gargles that are great to both help clear your sinuses and keep back here, the back of your throat, nice and clean, and gum health as well, is you can gargle with salt water. You could just take some warm water or hot water, mix in some salt, and really gargle with it real good. Another real good one, and it's acquired taste, is that you can mix apple cider vinegar. That is a very acquired taste, but you can gargle with that, and that keeps everything wonderfully clean. And the great thing is, if you accidentally swallow some, you're not hurting anything. I know people will take a shot, like they'll drink a little thing of apple cider vinegar to help with digestion, and it's really a wondrous kind of natural thing. And with apple cider vinegar, the more natural ones of it come in glass bottles. And there's something called mother, which is, it's almost like when you've seen like apple juice have kind of a little sediment, like this grist at the bottom. You will see that. And what you want to do is you want to shake it up real good before you mix it into your gargle. But that keeps everything in the back of your throat really clean. It's a good way to bolster your steam and help with allergies, especially this time of year. Now, a few other things is, if you have a cut or a bruise, or specifically, specifically a cut. I also use this because I have, we'll get into that in a minute. If you have a cut, a lot of bacitracin, or the creams or the ointments that you use for boo-boos, they are primarily petroleum based. Vaseline's the same way. Vaseline is pure petroleum, and as we've talked, petroleum's gas. It's gas. And Vaseline, and believe it or not, chapstick all use petroleum. And a lot of the antibacterial wound creams have that in it. And it's not real good. The reason that I don't like petroleum in these products is because, of course, it's gas, it's oil. We don't want to be using that, but it dries out your skin. Like chapstick, I've noticed when I use chapstick, which is full of petroleum based, it would moisturize for like a little bit, and then my lips would feel drier than when I did before. And what I did is I switched from chapstick to Burt's Bees lip balm, which is completely beeswax and peppermint oil, and I've been using this for decades. The nice thing about this is once it's all used up, they do go through TerraCycle, which is free. If you sign into TerraCycle, look up Burt's Bees. Once you can print out a free to you, it's no cost to you, will print out a mail-in, a mailing label, a shipment label, and I just collect them. I save all of my containers and then mail it back to TerraCycle, and Burt's Bees will recycle these containers, so these never get thrown away. So that's a win-win-win. So you don't have to use petroleum in your chapstick. You don't really want to use Vaseline either. That's very petroleum based. But the bacitracin, what am I trying to think of? There's an ointment that everybody uses that's a anti-wound ointment, and I'll put it on the screen. The alternative to that I use is calendula ointment. Calendula is a natural plant, and it has no dyes, fragrances, or parabens, and it has been wonderful. Like and the great thing about this is that I use this on my wounds. I use this if I have a small cut, a paper cut, if I have a rash or something like that. I use the ointment version of this. The other thing is that it does also come in a cream form, which is excellent for diaper rash. So it's like it really is a versatile thing, and to my understanding, it doesn't have any petroleum in it. I've never gotten the feeling that it had petroleum. The other thing that I use it for is that I do have a second ear hole. I don't have earrings in it now. And sometimes when I haven't worn an earring for a little while, it starts to close up. And you know how painful, how sore it is? It's almost like feeling like you just got your ears pierced. I also just I dip the point of my earring in a little bit of that, put it through and twist it a little bit, and it heals up faster. So I really live by this for my everyday, cuts, and you can also use it for a lot of rashes. If you do have plaque psoriasis, it's the ointment version or the cream version is good for that. It's just a little hard if it's in your neckline or hair. Now, the other thing that you use, especially with cuts, is Band-Aids. Band-Aids are a big one. Now, a lot of Band-Aids have that plastic coating on it, or they're full plastic, and with that, they're not very biodegradable. So what I've done is I've switched to a Band-Aid brand, or adhesive bandage brand called Patch, and Patch is bamboo. It's the material of the bandage is bamboo. So it's very versatile. The other thing is that I do have an allergy to latex. Latex irritates my skin really badly. So if it's a latex Band-Aid, or if the adhesive has latex in it, I'll cover my boo-boo, and then where the bandage will hurt worse than the wound did. So Patch, I've never had that problem with. It's latex free, and I've never had an irritation from the adhesive, and it stays really well. Well, I'll have a lot of people say, well, I have to use the regular Band-Aids because they're stronger and they don't wear out as fast. Like if you have a job that's really hard on your hands and you need to make sure your bandage stays in place. But I have to admit, Patch, I've never seen that problem. And there's actually several other brands, not just them, as well, that have that offer a more biodegradable, better option, and it sticks just as well. And I'm pretty hard on my hands. I've never had the Band-Aid fall off, and I've washed hands repeatedly, and it's stayed on very well, and it's still a bamboo material. So I really, really like their brand, and I would highly recommend them. Now, also, in the vein of some of the other things that we've talked about, like with skin conditions, sometimes if you kind of, if you have an ongoing skin condition, like, a tinea versicolor, which is that little discoloration, and we've talked about that in other videos where, when you have clothes that breathe really well, there's no room for any of the baddies, because fungus lives on your skin all the time. You always have something on your skin. There's actually a really great video in the Netflix series that talks about the good bacteria on your skin and the bad bacteria. But when the bad bacteria starts to get out of balance, you might develop something like tinea versicolor, or just normal things like plaque psoriasis. And plaque psoriasis can be on the body, or sometimes it can be in your hairline. And so, of course, go to your dermatologist and see what they recommend. Sometimes you need a stronger and more medical grade. But if it's just everyday maintenance of your condition, the big thing that you want to do is keep it moisturized and not scratch. So a lot of times aloe is great for that. If it is tinea versicolor, there are natural ways to do it. There's actually a bar soap called, here, I'll put it up on the screen. But it actually, it's a bar soap that you can use in the shower. So if you just shower every single time and then, put this is for tinea versicolor or any discoloration on the skin that you might think might be, just a natural, just like athlete's foot is kind of like something that grows on your skin. If you just feel like, especially in the summertime when moisture, kind of pools around the bra and other areas, if you can use this type of soap and you just lather it up, let it sit for a few minutes, maybe, let it sit while you're washing other parts of your body, and it really goes a long way, and it is a completely natural bar remedy for that. The other thing that you can do for tinea versicolor is that there are other options like, like using tea tree oil or aloe vera. Now, tea tree oil can be very strong, and the only other thing is you want to make doubly sure that you're not allergic to tea tree oil. Like, for instance, I have a family member, my brother-in-law, is allergic to Vicks Vapor Rub, like eucalyptus, and tea tree is in that family, so he can't even smell it. If he smells it, he swells. So I'm very careful that if I ever use those type of oils that I never do, that I'm never around him where he could smell that or be in contact with it. But it is a good anti-infectant. Now, there's other types of oils that don't have that problem, like, blue basil is a good antioxidant one that's good and still moisturizing. But basically, you want a good natural antifungal. Now, with plaque psoriasis or any of the other skin conditions, you can also do things like organic virgin coconut oil. Coconut oil is great, and the nice thing is that it kind of comes out solid in your hand, and then when you rub it, the heat of your fingers kind of makes it more liquid, and you can get it into the places, and it's got a very wonderful natural effect of keeping it moisturized, and then it calms the itch of it. Now, so those are just some other remedies, and there's natural remedies you can look online. Definitely ask your dermatologist about it first. I ran all of these past my dermatologist, and she said, yeah, those are fine, But if it starts to get more itchy, or if it doesn't seem like it's healing, if it still looks inflamed, then you might want to go for the more medical grade stuff. So, but these are some natural remedies that you can use in the everyday. And last but not least, if it's just, keeping moisture in the vein of keeping moisture under control, just dusting of powder really goes a long way just to keeping you nice and dry and free of any baddies. But you've probably heard in the news that talc is a big consideration. Talc is not good. It has been known to be a carcinogenic and cause, reproductive problems. So one thing that you can do is you can use cornstarch type of, and Burt's Bees has a wonderful talc-free version called Baby Bee. It's actually baby powder, but it's 100% natural, non-GMO cornstarch powder. And the great thing is it does come in a plastic container, but just like with the lip balm, they do participate in TerraCycle, where if you enroll, if you create a login to TerraCycle and you follow Burt's Bees, if once you've collected a number of these bottles, you can print out a mailing label, no charge, and mail the container back to Burt's Bees, and it will get reused. And that's a much better solution because recycling is a little bit questionable. You don't know if it's actually going into the landfill or being recycled. And here, if you are sending the container back to the maker, they can clean it and reuse it. It's the exact same container that they put their products in. So you know that the recycling is actually, working, or it should be working if you do that. So it's a lot more peace of mind, more natural, safe to use, and then we want to cut down on the recycling. So that's pretty much it for first aid. Our goals are, let's look at the one use stuff. Don't use it once. Try to do it reusable, use it multiple times. When it does go into the landfill, is it biodegradable? Is it natural fibers? Does it have any toxic chemicals? That kind of stuff. If you can treat it naturally and it works with natural remedies, do it. And then of course, look for the other alternatives that you can use that would do the same thing without so much waste. Now, I really thank you for joining me again. This is always exciting for me to talk about this. It's kind of exciting to see how many ways I actually do, lean on the green side for for first aid. In closing, I did want to also say that on my Instagram and on my Facebook pages, I have been posting more eco outfits of the day. So anytime you see me, I am wearing something that's an eco-friendly outfit. This shirt is 100% organic cotton, not just regular cotton. It's organic, 100%. No crossover and no synthetic. I got it at the thrift store, so secondhand for $7.99. The shirt under it is 100% cotton, and I got it at the thrift store secondhand for $5.99, and I've worn it more than 29 times, so 30 wears rule. So the jeans I have had for over 10 years, and they are Lucky Brand, 97% cotton, 3% elastin, and been worn more than 40 times. I think I'm pushing 50 times. So that's the way we want to go. And if you definitely want to check out my Instagram, I've been over there posting some eco trend dupes. So last video we talked about an eco dupe and what we can do to be trendy. I've been shopping my closet. I've been looking at the items I already have in my closet and how many times I've worn them, and I'm using those items to try to emulate the fashion trends that are out now. So I would love your feedback. I'm Eco Girl in a Modern World over on Instagram, and if you ever, give me your feedback. Do you think we're doing it right? And I will be posting all of our rules. When I post the outfit, I'll say what it's made of, how many times I've worn it, did I buy it secondhand, and you tell me if you think that I got the image correct. Does it look correct? So I'm going to be posting those, in between the videos and just having some fun with it to try to see how we can, wear it more than once and wear it out and still be trendy. So, but I thank you so much. Earth Day is coming up soon. We only got a couple more videos, and I'm excited. I'm going to be getting out of my room, and I promise I'll give you a video with good hair sometime soon. But I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.